like you put, and there's a numerous other guys in my spot where it's like they're not really known,
right?
And they're working their ass off, and then you have a guy, CM Punk. Like I said, I don't mean to sound disrespectful, and I hope I don't insult the industry by any means. But then you have a guy like CM Punk, who has a big name from wrestling, and like he doesn't have any combat experience. I mean, you can almost say the same thing with Brock, but Brock had a couple of fights before he even got in the UFC.
Yeah. I was about to
ask and Brock did have a collegiate wrestling background as well.
I was about to ask that because it almost seemed like the same thing that's happening with Punk that happened to Lesnar.
No,
I didn't know nothing.
Lesnar had like 3 or 4 fights.
Lesnar
I didn't know nothing about
that before the UFC.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so in some sense they tried to build him up a little bit more. Where Punk is just like, we're just gonna put you in there. And that's where it's like,
that don't
man.
seem right.
And then what's it called? Like, and now this is where I'm gonna put the respective, like, for wrestlers that are maybe taking it like, wow, well, fuck you. It's like, well, so like you take a guy that just got into the industry, all right? He's done maybe a couple of training sessions in a gym, and then now all of a sudden they're just gonna put him in WWE, and not just any regular match either. Though they're gonna put him up in the main headlight, like on a live show, and everything. That's like, wow, why are you going to do that when you have so many other cats that are working their ass off?
You know what? Talking from experience, I had to do almost a year and a half, 2 years before I actually got my first booking.
Yeah, so you see where I'm getting at. Though.
I understand exactly where you're coming from because and this is just with wrestling in general, pro wrestling in general. That you got to show, you got to know what you're doing in there.
Yeah.
They're not going to put you in there and just wing it, dude. You gotta
earn your bones.
You gotta earn your fucking. You gotta pay your dues. You gotta earn your respect. You gotta show love for the business, and you also gotta show respect for the people that came before you.
And just respect. You gotta learn your craft.
Exactly. You have to learn.
I mean,
the craft.
even after you do that first match, finally, there's still a lot of learning ahead of you.
Oh shit!
But you gotta learn the basics, and then that's where it's like. That's where I'm like I said, I'm trying not to. I don't want to sound like I'm attacking him, but that's where it's like. That's where I see the heat coming from.
No, I completely agree with
you. From CM Punk because
I completely agree with you.
He hasn't had that. He hasn't had that extensive amateur background. He's never even had one amateur fight.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I know that anyone will probably say I don't have any right to talk about Punk, but my thing is too. I mean, that would be like some fucking yarder just coming in. And, just because he knows how to fucking take a trash can shot, he gets a fucking spot. Whereas I had to fucking put 2 years in before I got my first match. That's the same thing. Exactly. To me, that's not just disrespectful to the guys before you or the guys that are coming up. That's disrespectful to the entire industry.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are some people saying that that CM Punk does have a legit degree in Muay Thai and kickboxing and jiu-jitsu and stuff.
What's it called?
Some people say that
he's ranked in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as a blue belt, but even like that, and no disrespect towards guys that are ranked in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu though, but there's a difference between being ranked in a martial art and actually going out and competing in it.
That's very true.
Because Buddha could damn well have a fucking blue belt or a purple belt or a brown belt. And whatever.
All the above.
Yeah. but has never, what's it called, at the same time, too.
And
never done a tournament, never done any kind of fighting whatsoever.
Right.
And
I'm undefeated, I don't need to.
He is Mr. 100 and 0.
No, but so that's where it's like, you know what? And I saw because there was a documentary I saw on YouTube today.
Right.
And it was a good documentary, and like I said, it sparked some emotion there, too. Not hatred towards CM Punk. It was just more like I said, just like, man,
come on now.
Yeah, exactly.
You got so many other young guys that are scratching and clawing for a chance.
Exactly.
You got guys that have been training half their fucking lives. Taking any fucking booking they can, whether it be amateur or pro.
Yep.
Busting their ass, trying to get their fucking name out. Scratching and clawing for that call.
Yeah.
Because to me it sounds like with independent MMA, it goes hand in hand with pro wrestling.
Yeah, it's a call.
You have to
you got what's the call? You got to put in the work. You got to move into the ranks, and you got to catch eyes.
Mm-hmm. You got to
just like pro wrestling. You got to catch
that eyes.
And
You got to have something special.
Yeah,
you know, and I think it's a lot. And I think for MMA fighters and even just combat fighters in general, it's a lot harder.
You were about to crack a joke, nigga. Look at
this motherfucker.
You got some pretty eyes.
Got some nice lips there, boy.
But even like for combat fighters or combat athletes, I think it's a lot harder because there's really no way for fighters to stand out. Whether it's pro wrestlers, you just get a fucking out there unique gimmick, and then boom, you could take off.
It's about the same, and it's different at the same time. You can't compare the two, honestly, in some degree.
In some degree, I could agree with that.
But honestly, there's something always. But at the same time too, when you go, what's it called, on both where you can compare them and stuff like that. Yeah, what's it called?
You gotta travel.
Towards the gimmick, but you got to pay your dues still,
right?
And you got to build your experience.
Yeah, but
regardless.
But I'm pretty sure that like for MMAs, for any combat fighter, you guys don't show up like real early to help like set up. I mean, you don't.
Some do actually.
Some do. Have you done it before?
I've done it a few times.
Okay,
dude, like there's been
so you guys do have like that whole you come in, you put up the octagon, you take it down.
Yeah, what's it called? Some do, because if you're a part of like the ring crew or the octagon crew, yeah. Mm-hmm. And there's been times where, like, I was, to earn some extra bones, especially when I was amateur, to earn some extra bones. Because, especially when I was amateur, I did anything to fucking get money in my... I still do that. I still do anything to pretty much get money in my fucking wallet. Right. Anything, baby.
And he means anything.
I saw your face.
Yeah, if you could take a bump, you could take a
dick. How do you think I know about that phrase, boy?
Who they called him that phrase?
No, but
we're still getting those on T-shirts. I hope you realize that. If you could take a bump, you could take a dick.
No, but there was times where like I was a part of the ring crew, right? And that same night I fought, and I did it. What's it called? Like I did it not only just to get some extra money in my wallet to contribute toward training and stuff like that, but also just to get some eyes on me. Wow, you know what? That kid's a hard worker, and he's very respectful. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to bring him back on my next show if I have him one.
Shoot, I'll tell you what, man. That sounds completely different from what I'm trained to do, what I'm taught to do, because it doesn't matter. To me, what I've been taught is that it doesn't matter where in the chain you're in, especially when it comes to pro wrestling and even in independence. If you're with a home, which is your actual like established like territory or whatever, you're there early to set up. You're there late to take down. No matter what you are on the card, whether you're just an extra hand on the set, or if you're actually working in the ring, you're there to set it up, tear it down, set it up, tear it down every fucking show. And every time I've ever been to any show whatsoever, I've been out there helping with that fucking ring, because you know what? In all honesty, that kind of just trains us to respect the stage. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, the wrestling ring is almost like a Bible to every pro wrestler.
Well, I mean, what's it called? It's like that in wrestling, because like especially when you start out, it's called like you're an established federation regardless if it's big or small or whatever.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
We're like fighting where it's like, man, you're gonna fight wherever you can get a fucking fight on. Yeah. It's rare when you actually get, even in amateurs, even though like now amateurs, well, especially for them amateur MMA, you can kind of get built up in whatever fed anyway or whatever local. But at the same time too, it's like, man, if I got an opportunity to go fight like in DeKalb for some small show, right? Nigga, I'm gonna go jump on that motherfucker. Well, I mean, if I can. Yeah, that's if I can.
Yeah, that's the same thing. That's the same thing with pro wrestling. Yeah. Once you because when you're at your home, that's where you start building. That's where you start growing. And then when you start turning heads, now all of a sudden you got other guys from different federations calling you and say, "Hey, we like this, and this. Would you be willing to, or would you be available for a booking?" And at that point, especially when you're a young guy or when you're a rookie in the business, you take any fucking thing you can get. Yeah. And then when you establish yourself as that guy that will always come in, do what's necessary, and be respectful to the business, you're going to get fucking called every fucking time. And a prime example of that is fucking Taylor. Taylor Sunday is one of the most respected young kids out there right now. That kid, like, shit, he got a fucking plug from Matt Winchester, the guy that does the Beer City Bruiser in ROH. Yeah. I've met that man. Fucking he's fucking intelligent. He's smart. he's one of those veterans that he will sit with you and talk with you and let you ask him questions about the business. He fucking loves Taylor to death. Both him and Taylor have worked so many fucking times together, and every time, and especially during Taylor's like rookie part, like his rookie year, when he first started coming out. Fucking Matt Winchester was in that ring working with him every fucking night almost, and then once Taylor started getting that word of mouth, man, then he started taking fucking bookings in BCW, then he started taking bookings in ICW, then now the whole Midwest wants fucking Taylor Sunday now because of just that worth ethic, him basically earning the respect of some big guy like fucking Matt Winchester. That just goes to show you, If you're in the business, be it combat sports or pro wrestling, and you keep your nose to the grindstone, you're in it for the right reasons. The sky's the fucking limit.
Yeah, I mean no, but to move up, you got to get seen.
Yeah,
and regardless, and if you're like trying to make a career of it, or just even passionate about it, and just love fighting and stuff like that, you're gonna do what it takes just to get seen.
Yeah, you're just kind of like, hey, I'm just here for a purse, man.
That's why I even said like at times, especially more of my amateur career, where I would go and I'd offer like, hey, can I help with the ring, set it up and tear it down, for a couple bones? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
How much you want? It's just whatever you can pay. I don't care.
Well, shit, man. I've even gone so far as like if I see a veteran like carrying his gear, and if he's carrying way too much, I'll walk up and be like, hey, you want me to give you a hand with that? I mean, I've done that plenty of times. I mean, Joey Cici's and Joey Chichi's a good example of that, man, because I mean he's kind of one of those guys that carries way too much.
No, but I mean,
okay, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, dude.
No, but what I did too at the times when I was like, that's the part of the.
Wait, let me jump in.
No, what I did when I was part of the ring crew, at times, sometimes I wasn't originally on that card.
Right.
But what I would do was I'd bring my fucking gear with me.
That's another fucking lesson that you teach in wrestling too.
So
always bring your gear.
Yeah. So like, we had this one guy drop out. Oh, really? What weight class? Oh, 55. What a convenience. I'm a 155 and I got my gear in the car with me. You want to fight? If I can get a fight, yes, sir. I'll fight for you. Man, you saved my show, brother. Dude, here's a little bit of extra cash. Get the hell out of here. I'll call you back for my next show.
Randy, just to confirm, is it Taylor or Tyler?
I want to say Taylor, but I think it's Tyler Sunday.
Okay. So you don't get beat up by your
I always get beat up by my trainers, dude. Yeah. They always give me shit, But the thing is, I mean, I love them. we'll
have a link to from our Facebook page to their page.
Yeah, but I mean, I love those guys. I don't mean I don't mean no disrespect. It's just that like I hate when I talk about wrestling. I just hate seeing the guys that are taking me under their wing get disrespected, and when I see people,
dude.
It's exactly. It's just I hate it. I hate seeing fucking any kind of wrestler, any kind of pro athlete, any fucking combat wrestler or combat athlete.
I just call them combative, basically.
Well, I like to call them combat athletes because to me that kind of covers the spectrum, whether it's be like MMA, kickboxing, Muay Thai, stuff like that. When I think combat sports, I'm talking about the ones that are like full contact, in your face kind of stuff.
I just what's it called?
Because I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't consider pro wrestling combat at all. But it's still tough. Yeah. But it's not combat because I mean, if we're really in there dropping each other on the head, you know how many motherfuckers would be paralyzed at this point?
In some degree, you know why I consider it still combat and stuff like that. Why I still call them combatives because of like how rough niggas can get behind the scenes.
It does get kind of rough.
You remember that one show when fucking Shorty got cracked from that one fucker? We all jumped up on that nigga too, man.
I remember that.
Not what's it called, but that guy was out of line to a point. Mm-hmm. I get why he was frustrated, blah 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 blah. But like all the niggas, the target, he targets Shorty, and then Corey hit him so hard he thought I hit him. Yeah. Serious, man.
Yeah, that whole fucking that whole night.
Not to bring up bad.
Yeah, that whole night was just a fucking shit storm, dude. I should have. Dude, there was such bad mojo when I fucking walked back there, man. I'm just like, man, maybe I should just keep my gear in the fucking car and say I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
I was just, man, that was the only time that I ever went to a locker room just going, God damn, I don't want to be here.
That was a rough night, man.
It was just a rough night, and even the rest of the other shit. And I'm not going to name the fucking Fed because I'm not getting them any fucking more pub whatsoever.
Yeah.
The ones that we did in Belvedere, you know, those were just